Support for Donnybrook Last Call is provided in part by Design Air Heating and Cooling.
Thank you very much for joining us for Last Call. This is where we discuss the issues that we didn't have enough time for in the first 28 minutes and 47 seconds. Alvin, the city of Warmth, Brentwood, decided to remove 19 Canada geese from the newly established Brentwood Park. Some of the geese, the older ones, were euthanized and then processed, and the meat was given, we are told, to either homeless shelter or the needy, something like that. The young ones were relocated. There are some animal activists who think, you know what, there are other measures you can take, Brentwood, besides killing these harmless creatures. Where do you fall on this one?
Well, you know, I'm a goose guy.
Really?
I didn't know there was such a thing.
Why? Look,
That sounds
Canada
like
geese have attitudes. We understand they poop every place, but look, they're kind of beautiful. And why you gotta kill them? I mean, you could like smuggle them out the neighborhood or whatever, and fine if they put out there, hey, 19 adult geese have to find a home or they're going to be gone forever. I'm sure people with farms out there, somebody would have said, like, give me a couple of these geese and, you know, I'll turn them loose and hopefully they'll be fine. But I think that was drastic. I think that was kind of cruel. And Brentwood ought to be ashamed of itself. And real quick, when I was at 101 ESPN, I used to, on Saturdays, during molting season or like after they had babies, there would always be like a mom goose standing as you drove into the parking garage. And rather than just run the car where she moved, I would get out and say, Mama Goose, I'm kind of late. I got to be on the air.
Mother Goose.
Yeah,
Mother Goose.
Mom Goose. And I said, you got to move. And she would like move a little 4 feet. So I think that was just, that's out of hand.
Well, I'm in Forest Park virtually every day walking, and there's a bunch of geese in the park, and they don't seem aggressive to me. I mean, I don't approach them or try to move them or anything. I'll give leeway, but they don't seem like a problem, Charlie.
Well, we have in Chesterfield, we have a small lake or a large pond in our backyard. So the geese that live in our yard are there constantly. They're there all the time. As long as, and you're right, if you stay away from them, you're okay. But if they are, you know, if you are anywhere close to their babies, they do get very aggressive. I'm surprised that they had to kill them. And one of the things I do think about with grandchildren is some of these avian flu type situations where you do have to worry. If you're in a park, I could see where they're thinking, okay, we have a lot of kids. They're, you know, some of them are, honestly, that's something that I think about.
I know,
and so, you know, we're trying to look for something like a decoy or a plastic grizzly bear or something to put out there to scare them away so that we don't have, you know what, all over our backyard,
Right.
which
Or
we've had
shoes.
for 30 years. Or, shoes.
Right.
But the kids, you know, I don't want to have them, I don't want them to wear army boots every time they come over.
I've
to
heard
play.
those owl things work.
They do.
All right.
I don't think they do. Brentwood tried everything.
All
They
right.
used lights, they used lasers,
Yeah.
they used sound. What they didn't do, I think, is that you can really grow the grass high. And Canada geese don't like high grass. But in a park, they wanted to keep the grass
Sure.
relatively short.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw this in. You know, a while back we talked about the caretaker's home in Carondelet Park.
Yeah.
And then we talked about KDHX. I'm going to throw this issue with them.
Is this your apathy file?
This is my apathy file. I just, you know, they wanted to get rid of them. I read a story that 2 young interns, I believe Seth Nelson and Sam Totoni, working at our paper, wanted to give them a shout out, working in the summer.
They wrote the story.
Wrote the story about it. They said the problem with the adult ones is they imprint where they laid eggs. So they will always come back to that place. That's why the young ones could be moved, but the older ones couldn't, because no matter where you moved them to, they were going to come into back to that place. So they talked to every side. I think you have a situation when anytime you are going to put an animal to sleep, you're going to have someone opposed to it, period. This is how they decided to handle the problem. Could you have done different things? You could always have done different things. but I just don't see it as a big
Well,
controversy.
it's actually a good thing if you're serving goose burgers to people who need it, so that's fine. But and I eat meat, so I don't know how judgmental I can be against the city of Brentwood for killing the Canada geese. But I would like to see Brentwood and all other communities try every means possible, and I'm not entirely sure how dangerous they really are. Avian flu?
Have you ever had a goose burger?
No.
I mean, I've never even heard of a goose burger.
Well, I'll tell you what, there are.
grind
I think I've ever
looked
even
at there are
had.
recipes all over the internet for Canada
Right.
geese.
And I've had goose. It's not the best thing ever, but
I didn't know you grew up in Dickensian Kirkwood.
a nice fat goose for Christmas. Was that?
Wait, the USA Today Christmas party used to just be the bomb back in the day when Christmas parties
They
were
had
Christmas parties.
geese?
They would have like some goose
Christmas
pate and
goose.
some goose stuff.
Oh, well, yeah.
All right. Next question. This is our animal segment here on the last call. Who wants to start this one? I'm not sure who should get this one, but the county executive in St. Louis County, how about you, Joe Holleman, wants to spend almost $20 million on an animal shelter. It's a real problem because throughout St. Louis County and the city, there are too many animals that people can't take care of for financial reasons, or they're moving into certain housing, or the animal's behavior. And now, not only is the county animal shelter overcrowded, but all the privately run ones. Right. I mean, we need volunteers, we need donations, we need people to take care of these animals in their homes. Right. What do you think, $20 million?
Well, no, I think that's just insane to spend $20 million out of Rams money. That is not at all what Rams money, you know.
Why not?
Well,
Let's just take it
transformational.
up. I'm sorry, Joe. Let's take it up to $500 million,
Yeah.
Sam Page. I mean, you know, I agree with. We've got so many pressing needs, and I want every animal to be taken care of, and I want every animal to be happy and loved. But the number keeps going up, and it's this Rams money that it seems unrealistic to me.
Well, in the very
It's free money.
in the very beginning, no, there's no such thing as free money.
No, the Rams money is free money.
Well, I remember on this show, there was talk for a year on the show. This is for transformational. What you're trying to do is fix something now that you've been mismanaging for years. That's not transformational. That's putting more Band-Aids on wounds.
What if they made the country's greatest animal shelter with the Rams money?
And people would like...
And geese would live there too.
And
Charlie.
we'd have a
Everybody would
goose
be happy.
shelter.
Right.
Well, people aren't going to drive to St. Louis to drop off their animal. They'll abandon it wherever it is. Right. So this idea that we're going to have the greatest animal shelter would get us what?
Well, it would mean that you're a very humane area that loves animals. Right,
Right,
Alvin?
Yes, and I agree with that. I do also agree that all of these things with the money, I think that, and you don't have to be cruel or downhearted to say that I would like more of a say to where this money went as opposed, until the animal shelter. Because what I have not heard is, what are you going to do if we gave you $20 million? What are you going to do to reduce the stray animal population? And that's one of those things that only people can do that. You can build all the shelters you want to. If people don't spay their dogs and all that, then they're going to be...
That's it. You'd have to have a big spay and neuter program.
We had
Well, there's another
APA
$20
running the
million.
county
Let's
thing.
do that.
The APA was running the county thing, and it seemed to be okay.
Right.
And there was all these complaints about $20 gift cards for Dave and Buster's or whatever. Mm-hmm. And now we're talking about $20 million. Can't we go back to the
should have
APA?
just stayed with the gift cards for Dave and Buster's.
Pretty much.
I
Did the
wish I
dogs
had
have
brought
to
up-
take their shoes off and their belt when they went to the county council meeting to get through the little security thing? that was a sweet. Hey, that was a good move by Kanika Cunningham, though. You get the cute people on your side.
You
Oh,
could
yeah.
brought up a good point that the shelter should be able to take donations. I can't believe they can't take donations.
The shelter can't take donations.
You can call it a cuddly moment, or
Come
you
on
can
in.
call it a shameless attempt.
We want to
sway the
celebrate.
votes of the
Still
council.
celebrating
Whichever
at
one
this
you want to
old?
do. Oh my God!
heavens.
This
Wowza.
is for Wendy, who
Doesn't
turns
need the
46
cake,
today.
but yes, I'm 46.
One candle for each 25 years.
Yeah, right.
Wendy
For
says, "Where's the
each-
champagne?"
For each brain cell left. Okay. I don't want to. I don't want to blow. I'll blow them out during the break.
Okay.
There you go.
Right?
This is the break.
There-
Okay. Happy birthday, Wendy.
Happy birthday.
We love you.
Right.
you. I
You
love
and the
you
geese.
guys.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week at this time.